What is up, guys? Welcome in here to JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. Crazy free agency day happening right now in the NFL. It kicked off at noon Eastern time, and I've been waiting. I've been watching, waiting for an Eagle notification, and so far we have nothing, I imagine, as far as Eagles go. I imagine the great people of JAKIB Nation and Eagle fans all over are feeling the same thing here. You know, free agency is a lot of fun. I'm sitting here refreshing my feed. I had on, I was watching one of the sports shows, waiting for the news to come, and you see the deals come rapid fire. People are signing, massive deals done. Jaelan Phillips is gone from the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you sit there and you wait for the birds, and we just haven't seen it yet for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll say this. A lot of times teams that are big players in free agency are not the best teams, okay? So it's not necessarily a bad thing, and we are still waiting on the three of the four key names for the Philadelphia Eagles. We don't know yet on Nakobe Dean. We don't know yet on Reed Blankenship, and we don't know yet on Dallas Goedert. But the latest news in Eagle land is Jaelan Phillips, guys, is officially gone. Now, the deal is not obviously finalized until Wednesday, 4 p.m. at the start of the new league year, but it's very rare in these days that you see these deals fall through. So Jaelan Phillips is gone. He gets a 4-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. It's $120 million with $80 million guaranteed. That's $30 million a year for Jaelan Phillips. If you guys listened to Birds 365 this morning, I called it. I said, $30 million, John. I saw that Jordan Davis deal at 26. I said, Jaelan Phillips is not. He's going to get big money. So, the Eagles lose Jaelan Phillips. I think the question now is, what's the contingency? We've talked about some guys, Bradley Chubb. We've talked about Jonathan Grenard, the Vikings player, who's going to be on the outs there. So there is some options out there, but do you understand why they don't go there with Jaelan Phillips? I do. $30 million, I understand it, but that doesn't mean that you just replace him that easily. Like, I think sometimes we get it in this mode of like, well, you can't pay 30. And look, I understand, but now what, right? Like, how do you get your team good again? How do you replace that player that left? I understand it's a big number, but the follow-up question to that is more important than what your initial thought is on whether they should have paid it or not should have paid it. The question is, how good are the Philadelphia Eagles on the football field? Okay, you don't want to pay 30 for Phillips. I understand. Now what do they do? Now where do they get somebody that's as good and that can make the team as good? I see Alfredo. Hell no, I wasn't paying $30 million. All right, Alfredo, let's just see what they're able to do, because if you can't replace him for cheaper, it's going to be tough. Now, I do think Howie will have a plan, and I think they will be able to replace him, but I don't like hearing, oh, you should have paid it, or oh, you shouldn't have, without the follow-up question of, how do you get your team better? At the end of the day, it's about the team being a better football team, and putting themselves in a position to compete for a Super Bowl. So that's what they're trying to do. I think Phillips gave you a good opportunity to do that, but I do agree that $30 million on him is not the best use of it, best allocation of funds. Other deals coming in fast and furious, everybody across the NFL. I'll rattle some of you off. Some of these deals off to you. The most recent one is a couple punter deals. How about that? This is a relevant one for Nakobe Dean. Ready? Alex Anzalone, the Lions linebacker, he was a great player in Detroit. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 2-year, $17 million deal. All right, now, the reason that's relevant is I thought the Bucs would be a key player in the Nakobe Dean sweepstakes. They have Levante David, who's an older player. They've always valued linebackers there. They have Todd Bowles as their head coach. I was thinking that Nakobe Dean, that could be a landing spot for him. Now with Alex Anzalone signing a deal there, I don't see that as much for Nakobe Dean. So that's relevant for that reason. The other big signing of the day, guys, was the Chiefs making the splash for running back Kenneth Walker, who just won the Super Bowl MVP in February. So I thought that was a big deal for the Chiefs. I actually think it's a good deal for them. Look at what a running back did for our football team. You have Patrick Mahomes there who's coming off the injury. That's a team that I don't want to say they're rebuilding, but they're retooling to try and get themselves back in the Super Bowl contention every year. And to sign a guy like Kenneth Walker who can take some of that burden off of Patrick Mahomes, I think that's a great signing for them. And the number wasn't crazy. I think I saw it was between 45 and 50 million for 3 years. So you're looking at between 15 and 17 million for that player. I mean, I didn't think that was a bad move at all. Anybody who watched Seahawks football last year, that Kenneth Walker is a pretty damn good player. Now, here's the latest. Commanders are signing veteran cornerback Amik Robertson to a 2-year, $16 million deal. Nothing groundbreaking there. I don't think Amik Robertson is set to lock down AJ and Devontae. We'll see if AJ returns to the Philadelphia Eagles. How about this? A former Eagle, Kenny Gainwell, gets a 2-year, $14 million deal with the Buccaneers. So more Bucs signings. They get Anzalone and also Kenny Gainwell. Shout out to Kenny G. All right, he had a great year in Pittsburgh, and he cashes in and is able to get a $14 million deal across 2 years with the Tampa Bay Bucs. That includes $10 million of guaranteed money. Jets making a lot of moves today. Kind of goes back to my point at the beginning. Like, we might be on edge because we want an Eagle move. Just because you're a big player in free agency does not make you a good team. So the Eagles are a great team, and they're not making a lot of moves right now. It doesn't mean they're going to be a bad team this year, all right? So lay low, relax. The Jets are signing people left and right, okay? Falcons are making some moves as well. Oh, how about the Miami quarterback situation? So they move on from Tua Tagovailoa, and now they bring in Malik Willis. They give him 3 years. I think it was $67.5 million. I'll get you the exact. Yeah, $67.5 million, with the first 2 years fully guaranteed at $45 million. So the Dolphins, guys, I think this is something to keep an eye on. Not only, I think, in the NFL as a whole. Miami moves on from a $50 million quarterback that, look, I'm a Bama guy. I had class with Tua. I'm a Tua guy. I like Tua personally. He was great to me when we had classes together. Always been a good dude, at least from when in my experience with him. So that's enough reason for me to root for him. He's a mediocre quarterback for $50 million. So now I think you're going to start to see teams doing what the Dolphins are doing here. Move on from the $50 million guy and look for a middle of the road guy that's less than the big money. Darnold 30 million or whatever it was. Baker Mayfield got 30 million and change. Now you have Malik Willis getting 3 years, $67.5 million. Will more teams adopt this mindset of, give me a cheaper quarterback that's competent and I can build a great team around him and go and win? Is Sam Darnold an elite quarterback? I know we're Eagle fans, but is Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback in terms of the top five, the top guys? It's more important to have a great football team when you're competing for a Super Bowl, when you're trying to compete for a Super Bowl. All right. Now, will this permeate? Is this just a situation in Miami where they got $100 million of dead cap hit? Maybe. But I do think it's something to keep an eye on here, where great teams win more than just great quarterbacks do. And, you got to keep that in the back of your mind there, as I think that's something that will be very relevant